What radio? The music you want.
With your host, Keys Dan.
Would you like a cup of coffee?
RadioWhat.com. What's up, party people? It's Keys Dan with RadioWhat.com, DJLittleRock.com, coming to you live and in living color from the Radio What Studios. And this is my podcast, What Makes You Famous. It's an extension of the RadioWhat.com internet radio station that I've been running for quite some time. And if you need DJ services, DJLittleRock.com, DJLittleRock.com. It's the place that you go when you need some entertainment. Video dance parties and karaoke jams are my specialty. Weddings, oh yeah, they're my specialty. You know what I reminded myself just now of? Bill Paxton. I remember he was in, Predator 2. If you check out his character, one of the things that he did was whenever they sent him out on assignment, whatever it might be, he would tag it with, oh yeah, that's my specialty. Hey, I need some surveillance on that character over there. Oh yeah, surveillance is my specialty. So yes, weddings, events, video dance parties, karaoke jams. I like to entertain the people. Let me play for you. Let me entertain you. Let me be the guy behind the ones and twos. Yeah, I actually still have ones and twos, the digital wheels of steel. I have the turntables that, they're steel turntables. I have my Pioneers that I use to control the MP3s and flow them seamlessly from song to song. I can even beat match and, like I used to do with my Technique 1200s. And if you're a DJ or you've ever been around DJs, you know that Technique 1200s were and probably always will be the standard, the industry standard. I miss my Techniques, but I got my Pioneer DDJs, and they do very well. So enough of that technical jargon. Before I get way too ahead of myself, today on the program, Ethan Bailey, young man of the world. The future belongs to you, Ethan Bailey. He is into some cool stuff. I met up with him and rode around with him for a little bit, and we met up over at the Hardee's in Russellville, Arkansas, and had some lunch and did a little podcast. And he talked about some interesting stuff. So let's find out more about Ethan Bailey. This week's shows, if you're listening to the podcast as soon as I put it out, this Saturday I'll be at the CosCon in Little Rock, Arkansas, at right by the airport, as far as I know. I think it's by the airport. It's CosCon and CosProm. So during the day, from 10 till about 4, maybe even 6, 10 until sometime in the afternoon to the early evening, it's a CosCon. So it's a Comic-Con of sorts, but it's primarily featured or focusing on cosplay. So if you're really into cosplay, which I don't know if I'm into cosplay. I'm in the cosplay. I have original characters that I create from time to time, but I appreciate the cosplayers, all the effort that they put into putting these outfits together. And some of them are just as good or even better. Sometimes they reimagine the characters that are from the movies and the comic books, and they become those characters. And when you see them. If you ever see a cosplayer that's not in cosplay, they're one way, probably still nice people. But when they get into that cosplay, they become that character. You put that Wonder Woman outfit on, and yes, you are from Themyscira, and you can beat any man in combat. Yes, and you put on that Aquaman outfit, and you could swim in the sea and talk to the fishies. Yeah, I know. Aquaman does way more than just talk to fish. I think growing up, I remember that. Aquaman was always the one that they made fun of in the Super Friends. So what's your power? You talk to fish. Yeah, here on the land, I don't think we're going to need you. Go ahead and do the backstroke there, Aquaman. I feel for him. I feel for him. But I think the new Aquaman, the movies have changed all that for the better. Aquaman is so much more. And from what I understand, even in the comic books, his trident that he carried was magical enough to where it pierced Superman's skin. So he's got that going for him. He's got good weapons, piercing the Man of Steel. Man, I don't know why I'm going on a tangent. So, the Kaz Con. So excited about that. And then in the evening, I'll be DJing at the Kaz Prom. So Kaz Con, flip, 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 turns into Kaz Prom. I'll be playing all your favorite hits. I'll be playing some stuff that you may not have heard of. You can ask for pretty much anything you want. If it's out there, I pretty much got it. As long as I have internet, I'll buy it for you right there and play it for you. And the people, I know at the last CosCon, we had not just the pop hits that you'd hear on typical radio stations, even the classic rock and the, the dance songs that people hear on the top 40. But even beyond that, they were asking for a lot of K-pop. There was a lot of that, a lot of remixes of superhero movie themes, dance remixes. Yes, I had such a blast last year at the Kaz Prom, and I'm looking forward to this Saturday, July 27th, the Kaz Con and the Kaz Prom. Thank you to all, especially Christine Higgins that helped to. Really, she masterminded this. I know she's had some help from quite a few people throughout the Little Rock, Arkansas area and the Central Arkansas area. But I think Christine Higgins, she's pretty much the mastermind of all this. It's her brainchild, so you got to give her the credit. So I think I've talked long enough in this intro. It's probably the longest intro I've had. I started talking about superheroes and I geeked out a little bit. I think I like the superheroes. Bad me. I haven't seen the new Spider-Man yet, Far From Home. I caught the last Avengers movie, the Endgame. And yeah, that was so good. But I know I have to see Far From Home, and that's the last in this series of Marvel movies. So bad me. Maybe I'll do that Sunday. I know I like to keep Sundays for laziness. Lazy Sunday when I go laze out at the movies. And here I am again talking about Marvel movies and superheroes. I guess you think about superheroes and it's people that are more than you, more than yourselves. It's what people can become. But it's also a metaphor, the superheroes. If you listen to the late Stan Lee, when he was talking about his superheroes, he always related them to, that Spider-Man was just a kid who was a loner and always kept to himself. And he was quiet and kind of a nerdy kid, but then he got these powers and broke out and put the mask on and became more than he was. But when he took the mask off, he was back to trying to be a normal kid, live a normal life with a girlfriend and family, his Aunt May and stuff. So yeah, it's superheroes and the books and the comic books. I grew up on them, and I'm sure a lot of people, I know a lot of people grew up on superhero comics and Saturday morning cartoons and the Super Friends. And anybody who watched the Super Friends on Saturday morning would know this. Inekchok. Yeah, I don't even have to say who that is. If you've seen the Super Friends, you know what that is. All right, party people. Let's get into it with Ethan Bailey. Ethan Bailey, I don't even have to call him. He, like I said, he met up with me over at the Hardee's in Russellville, Arkansas. We took a break and had some food. So let's get into it with Ethan Bailey now. Somewhere near your talking hole, and away we go. Ethan Bailey, welcome to the show.
What's up, man?
What makes you famous? You are famous, man.
I
You're
don't know,
famous
man.
to somebody anyway. You got a family that loves you,
Yeah,
people that
Yeah.
need you around.
I got my boy.
Oh, you got your boy. That's right. That's right. All right. Well, Ethan Bailey, history buff, crystals. You're into rock climbing and stuff like that, and
Yep.
finding treasures. But you're into a lot of different things, man.
Yeah,
and the world is fascinating, and you have a good take on it. So tell the people just a little bio of who you are, Ethan Bailey.
Well, this burger's kind of messy.
Yeah, we're sitting here in Hardee's at Russellville doing this recording. We got some people in the background, and it might sound like a lady in the background, but it's an old dude, man. I like that.
It's an
I like
old
that.
dude, man.
It's an old dude, and he's talking loud on his phone, so it might be in the background a little bit, but I think we'll be fine. We got our lavalier mics pretty close to our talking holes, and
Yeah, man.
we're gonna have some lunch while we're doing a podcast.
Yeah, I'm just a normal old dude from Greers Ferry, Arkansas.
Greers Ferry, Arkansas. Is that a small town?
It's a super small town. I think it's 1,000 people.
1,000 people in Greers Ferry, so everybody knows everybody.
If you know where Heber Springs is, it's on the other side of it.
Well, you imagine there's people all over the world, somewhere in Arkansas. So is it still central Arkansas, or is it more of a northern Arkansas?
It's like north central.
North central.
Yeah.
So heading towards the top of the state,
Yeah.
and what can you do in Greers Ferry?
You go to the lake and go fishing.
It's summertime right now, and I've heard people going to the lake, and whenever they mention the lake, it's usually Greers Ferry Lake.
Yeah.
Is that right?
Yep.
So does the population double, triple during the summertime?
It gets so bad you can't use your phone. Your cell phone service just drops completely.
That is hilarious.
Yeah, it's terrible.
Terribly hilarious.
Pretty funny.
I guess a small town would have that problem if they had a certain amount of tourism, and you do.
I would say around about 5,000 people come during like holiday weekends to our side of the lake,
Yeah.
and it gets pretty bad. But it really ain't that bad though.
All right, so during the week, it's pretty calm, Greers Ferry, but then on the weekends, what opens up? Do many businesses kind of pop up?
Oh yeah.
Food trucks?
I actually have two friends, the Galeazzi's. They have two food trucks that they park outside of a little hobby store, and they make a killing over the weekend. It's pretty cool.
A food truck? What kind of food truck?
Just like a small little food trailer. I don't know. They just
Okay.
make burgers and stuff.
Oh, well, American food. Good,
Yeah, yeah.
burgers, fries, I guess, chips.
Yeah.
Yeah. And see, and you were telling me that before the podcast that was something that maybe you'd want to delve into.
Oh, man, yeah.
Get in a food
It'd be
truck.
cool, man.
What kind of food would you want to?
Either a food truck or that selling necklaces and stuff like that. Take it to a concert.
Well, let's go there.
Yeah, man.
You sell necklaces. What kind of necklaces do you do?
Arrowhead necklaces and crystal necklaces and stuff like that.
How do you come about these things?
I go out to Mount Ida, Arkansas, dig up my own crystals and stuff, and
Mount Ida sounds even smaller than Greers Ferry.
it's really not. It's by Hot Springs.
Okay. Hot Springs would be a further south, maybe south central Arkansas is Hot Springs, and Mount Ida is around there.
It's a little bit west, closer.
Closer to Oklahoma?
Yeah, I would say so.
Okay. I think I've been out that way.
Yeah,
I went
that ain't
to Mena, I went to Mena, Arkansas, and I think I was on a mountain called Wilhelmina, and if you looked off the mountain, you could pretty much see Oklahoma. Is that where Mount Ida is, around that area?
Yeah, somewhat. Don't get me lying, man. Don't get me lying on here.
Geography. This is called Fuzzy Geography, featuring Ethan Bailey
Yeah.
and Keys Dan. No, man. So primarily, what were you thinking about discussing? Because the crystals were really interesting to me. You pulled out a few crystals that you had that were raw.
Yeah,
and then you have one crystal that you're wearing as a necklace.
Yeah, man.
And what does that do for you, Ethan Bailey?
I'm not real sure. A lot of people think it has to do with good energy and stuff like that, but I just think they look cool.
All right. I have a crystal in the Florida Keys. It's a pretty eclectic place. I'm from the Florida Keys, which is where Keys Dan comes from, in case you haven't heard this podcast before. But by now, you should probably know that. There was a medium. She called herself a kind of a faith healer, a medium, Wiccan. I'm not sure what category she was in, but she sold crystals, amongst other things. And I went in there to her shop because she seems pretty nice, and I've always enjoyed her company whenever I've seen her on the streets.
Yeah.
But I went into her shop, and she said, choose a crystal. And I picked one, and I thought it was pretty nice, and I started to go from her wallet, and she says, no, it's yours. That's the one you chose. That's the one that chose you. You needed that one for your energy. So I said, how are you making any money if you're giving away crystals? She goes, no, I can afford to give you this one. Is that something that you do? Where you gift these things, or are you making them to sell?
I make necklaces to sell and stuff like that. It's super easy to do, but all my friends have got them for free, but that's just because they're around me all the time.
Hey, don't tell people that they're easy to make. You can charge more.
No, I'm good at what I do, though.
Okay. So, making the necklaces, is it wrapping them with string or gold or
copper wire?
Copper wire.
Or any wire that people choose, like blue, red.
Yeah, the one that he's wearing on his necklace, it's on a string. And I'll try not to make you hit the lavalier mic too much because that causes a lot of. But there's some weights. It looks like.
Yeah, little beads, and then copper wire. It's super simple, and
it's so pretty. It is so pretty, man. And I noticed you don't keep it on top of your shirt. You keep it really close to your skin. And the person that I was talking about in Key Largo, she told me to keep it pressed right to my skin.
Yep.
And she says that will channel some energy. I'm not sure what I believe. I'm not sure if it does, but it can't hurt, right?
It can't hurt. I think the ancients had it figured out. I don't really think we know. We use so much modern technology that we kind of forgot our past, really.
Yeah, and that leads us into the next portion of the discussion. Yeah. The ancients. Good segue, Ethan Bailey.
Yeah, man.
I think you've done this before, man. You've talked about this kind of thing. You've fascinated me. Yesterday, when we were riding home, I went ahead, while we were parked, I pressed the record button, and then I put it in the dash, and I did not touch my electronics while we were driving home. See? Do not touch your electronics while you're driving. This is a public service message from Keys Dan and the What Makes You Famous podcast.
Yeah, man.
So, in that little 45-minute deal, which I think we got 48 minutes, I got a little insight on what you're into, the ancients, studying ancient cultures, and it fascinated me. Now, that audio wasn't so great, but I am going to put it at the end of this podcast as kind of a supplement if you want to listen to it. I'm cleaning it up a little bit and making it sound, give some quality. But now you're going to structure it a little bit more about the ancients. Ancient histories is what you're into, Ethan Bailey.
That's right,
Tell
man.
the people what about, man.
All right. Well, we started off with crystals. We might as well finish on that. Mm-hmm. Or start on that anyway.
Sure.
Let me see. Okay. Where was I at?
Right now you're digging through your phone,
Looking
for some pictures.
Digging through my phone, man. All right, quartz crystals. When I said the ancients had it figured out,
Yeah.
well, we kind of use crystals today, like with watches and stuff like that, like I was saying yesterday.
Yeah.
But that's about all we use them for. We don't really understand the properties they use. I think the ancients did, and they used them kind of like beacons, like telephone poles, like how we use telephone poles today, but wirelessly.
Mm-hmm.
The reason why I say that is because every culture around the world, every ancient culture, used the same building techniques, used the same kind of stone, rocks, like andesite, quartz, diorite, granite.
Why do they use these building materials?
Well, they contain a lot of quartz, like granite and diorite. They contain a lot of quartz, and I think they figured out how to channel this energy through, like kind of like how we use roads.
Mm-hmm.
Like how you just want to go someplace and you don't even realize that you're picking up on this energy.
Okay. I'm just following the road. It's been laid out.
Exactly. Well, if you follow ancient roads at all, if you look at an ancient site from above, it kind of looks like a computer chip has been laid out.
I have seen that.
It's super weird, but it's pretty cool. And not only just in one part of the world, like Giza looks like a processing chip on a motherboard. Angkor Wat, it looks like a motherboard itself, how it's laid out.
You said Kawat?
Angkor Wat.
Angkor Wat.
Well, anyway,
Mm-hmm.
the reason why I bring this up, and there's Greece, Mexico, Teotihuacan in Mexico.
Who in Mexico?
Teotihuacan in Mexico.
Teotihuacan.
It's in Mexico City.
That's like Uncle Ticuatan.
Yeah.
Teotihuacan, yeah.
Well, anyway, that pyramid there's a lot of weird things that correlate between that and the Egyptian pyramid.
Right.
Like they have the same base perimeter down to like the foot. And that's all the way across the world. Once in southern Mexico and once in Egypt.
Mm-hmm.
Had no contact. And they pretty much, well...
Do we know they had no contact?
Yeah. Well, supposedly.
Mm-hmm.
What we've been taught in school, we haven't
Right.
learned that. So, well, anyway, the Egyptian pyramid, it's like, there's a mathematical formula for it. It's like 2 times pi high or something, or 4 times pi high. It's the height of the pyramid in Egypt.
Sure.
Well, the one in Mexico is exactly half that tall. So 2 times pi high or whatever.
How?
And they have the same base perimeter, so it's almost like exactly half the structure. And it's built out of this rock. It's like mica, I think, is what it's called.
Mm-hmm.
They normally use this stuff to make oven glass to withstand like thousands of degrees
Heat, yeah.
of heat. Yeah. Well, when you look at it from above, it really does look like a computer chip. Really, it's pretty wild. Let me see here. Other things that I was talking about
Yeah, let's
yesterday.
give some examples of what you're trying to get into here.
Well, anyway, the reason why I know so much about this is I wanted to know how to move huge blocks. I could not figure out how they did it. I still don't know how.
Yeah, yesterday we mentioned the Coral Castle. I've been
Yeah.
there.
I've never been there.
It's an amazing
That's awesome.
place. This guy, $150, maybe 150,
No.
50, No, not even 150 pounds.
Maybe, I think it was like 97 pounds. He was 50.
Little guy.
Like 50 years old.
Little guy, 50 years old, in Florida, in the heat.
The biggest block he moved was
9,000 pounds.
No, it was 30 tons.
30 tons.
30 tons.
Okay, that might have been one of the walls.
60.
Because they had that
pounds.
door that was
Yeah.
9,000 pounds, and it's pivoted. It's this coral door. It's amazing. If you get the chance, look up the Coral Castle in Florida. You'll see all these places where he perched himself. He had places that were, led out to astrological planes and things like that, and very spiritual. But he's moving these corals, these coral rocks that are amazingly heavy. He had them shipped by train to a field and moved them from there, supposedly by himself, to many miles away to the Coral Castle.
Yeah,
and this is things that you were trying to get into.
Yeah, well, that's the only megalithic modern megalithic site that has ever been really constructed. Mm-hmm. So there's like one out in South Carolina, but it was done with modern machines. Mm-hmm. And he says he did it with ancient techniques, and he did it in secret, so...
Yeah, he had passed away by the time I got there. It was a tourist trap, or a tourist spot.
Yeah.
And they had said that the door, 9,000-pound door, had fallen off of its axis, so to get it back on there, they had to have the biggest crane available, put it back on its axis, and he did it by himself, a 100-pound man.
Yeah, it's crazy. Well, anyway, I think he figured out how the ancients did it. And he says that in his journal.
Okay.
The main thing he says, he says, I figured out the ways of the ancient Egyptians. Mm-hmm. So that turned me to ancient Egypt. And I think that is the key to all cultures, is ancient Egypt, because it's the Mecca. It's the Great Pyramid.
People go and are in awe. Now that's a place I haven't been, but I'd like to go.
I'm definitely.
But they're in awe of these amazing feats of skill and strength, and you figure, okay, maybe if 100 men or 1,000 men were pushing these stones across these logs, how'd they get there? How'd they do it?
I don't think they did it like that.
You don't think they did it that way?
It would take them too long. If you think about it, if you calculate it, they would have to move, I think, something along the lines of like six blocks per minute to get it done in the time period they said, which is kind of impossible. I think it's not impossible.
Egyptians had a lot of slaves,
Yeah, but I'm not sure about it. I'm not sure about it, but I don't think it could be done in the 20-year span that they give it credit for.
What's your theory?
I think it was done way, way older. Same with the Sphinx. The Sphinx, I take all my credit from learning all this from Robert Schoch, the geologist, Robert Duvall, the archaeoastronomist, Graham Hancock, the journalist, and Randall Carlson, another geologist.
No, I've heard Robert Schoch talk for sure.
Yeah, Graham Hancock though, he's probably my favorite references, I would say.
What did he do?
Well, he's just a journalist. Mm-hmm. Well, anyway, he has a totally different outlook on ancient history, how people were and are. It's cool. If you get a chance, look him up. It's pretty cool. His name is Graham Hancock.
Okay. And what did he teach you?
Well, anyway, some of the things I've learned from him, or from his videos or podcasts or whatever.
Yeah. Still looking through your phone.
Still got pictures.
Some reference material.
Okay. Well, this is about the Great Pyramid alone.
Right.
Well, anyway, you take the coordinates from the Great Pyramid itself, and it says 2.29.9792458. No, degrees north.
Sure.
All right, speed of light is 29,9,792,458 in meters per second.
But they didn't know anything about meters back then.
That was their royal cubit. You get the same measurements.
But I thought we
From
came up with
meters.
a royal cubit was
It is.
about a foot,
It is.
0.85.
Yeah, but it's still using the metric. It's not like feet, like how we use feet. It's
Right.
still in decimal form.
Sure. Okay.
Well, anyway, and that's another thing about it is this. This is really cool. If you draw a circle around it, around the
A circle around a pyramid, a perfect circle.
a circle touching the inside faces of the pyramid, that is the symbol for the speed of light itself. Like, that's our symbol that we came up with.
Now, do you think that we came up with that symbol because of this?
No, because
Or-
of our aerodynamics when we bursted through the sound barrier.
Sure.
Well, anyway, now
Speed of sound or speed of light?
speed of sound.
Speed of sound.
Speed of sound. That was the
those
speed of sound. This is
concentric circles. A circle within a circle is the speed of sound.
yeah,
A symbol. Okay.
with that triangle. But well, anyway, well, the square. The pyramid is 8-sided too, so that has a lot to do with the measurements too. There's a lot of key measurements that you got to remember, like
Yeah, you mentioned that the pyramid was 8-sided, but you could only see it at what point?
during the summer solstice, one day a year, or 2 days a year maybe.
Now, what makes it 8-sided? Because all I see is 4 sides when I see it.
It's slightly concaved on each side,
So, like on the top,
like
it
all the way.
comes in.
All right, take your 4 sides
Mm-hmm.
and then split them again into halves,
Sure. And that's 8 sides.
and that's 8 sides. Like let me see here. Oh, not that.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. Let me see. That ain't it. Here we go. Nope. Let me see here. Boom. Like this. See what I mean?
Yeah, you have your pyramid, and it's not just the 4 sides, but each triangle of the pyramid is split in half as well. So you're saying that
creating perfect right triangles.
so
inside
that
of-
bounces out a little bit on the pyramid. So it's not just the main big 4 sides. There's also a split in the middle that
Yeah.
comes out a little bit,
Absolutely.
and that's 8 sides.
It doesn't come out; it goes in.
Oh, okay. So
Incaved
it's
a little
concave.
Concave, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Thanks for that explanation, Ethan
Well, anyway,
Bailey.
yeah, and the only time you can see it is when the light hits it at a certain angle on the summer solstice, which is like June 21st through the 23rd,
Yeah.
which is pretty cool.
I missed it this year. Oh no.
Yeah, yeah,
Gonna have to shoot for next year.
absolutely, man. There's another pyramid in Chichen Itza, I think.
Chichen Itza.
I think so.
Is that Mexico?
Yeah,
Somewhere in South America?
yeah. It's I think it's a Mayan pyramid. I can't remember, or an Aztec pyramid. I think it's a Mayan pyramid, but it's slightly. It's not turned like facing, like all 4 sides facing like cardinal points, like the Great Pyramid is. It's slightly turned offset to all the directions. And when the summer solstice happens, the sun rises, and it looks like their serpent god is literally a physical representation of their serpent god going up to the top of the pyramid. And then when the sun sets later on that day, you can see the serpent coming down on the staircase
Come on.
with the shadow effect.
These
from
people were
from the
in
steps.
touch with the sun, in touch with astrology, and
Yep.
that kind of thing.
Well, anyway,
So you say Mayans or Aztec? Did we figure that out?
I think that's Mayans. I can't.
Well, they were responsible for that calendar, and the world ended it in 2012.
Yeah.
I'll tell you.
Yeah, but
that
they
was
could
pretty
figure
freaky.
that out. But anyway, the reason why I say all this, Egyptian architecture is not the only. Like, I got to looking at the certain building style if you look at like the outside walls of Egypt, it like you could take a picture really close up to it, and you couldn't really see that it's a pyramid, and you would be thinking you would be staring at a wall in Peru, South America.
Because of similar building styles.
Because it's almost identical. Then you can do the same thing to the walls, to certain walls in Greece, Japan, China, Easter Island. And another...
And these people never had contact with each other that we know of.
That we know of. Another thing is the removal of stone, like out of their quarries.
Okay.
You see these shovel-looking marks? It kind of looks like they took a shovel through mud, but the mud is being the rock, solid rock.
Right.
And that is over 2 or 3 million cubic feet of rock taken out of a cave in China.
This is China.
Yeah, this is in China.
Is some red rock, or is that lights that are turning it red?
Those are lights.
Okay.
Well, anyway, this was actually underwater for about 2,000 years, give or take, until a farmer found it, a rice farmer. So they pumped it out.
Sure.
And found this huge complex, and this is only one room that you're looking at. This complex goes on for I think 12 more rooms just like that.
So this is an ancient cavern, man-made
cavern.
Man-made cavern in China that a rice farmer found.
It's pretty cool.
It is pretty cool.
Well, anyway,
I'm looking at columns.
Do you see the clear marks, the lines? Now, I seen those, and I was thinking to myself, I was like, man, I've seen those before. So I looked at this picture in Peru, and I seen them again, the scoop marks right there. That's the scoop marks that I've seen. And then I was thinking, man, I've seen those again somewhere else. And I was looking in Easter Island on this cave wall. And this is in Egypt. Same scoop marks. And that's underneath their biggest obelisk.
So there's only so many kinds of tools that you can use to build these
things
or excavate.
This is solid granite.
Is that important?
Granite is like that. I would say on a scale of 1 to 10, it's an 8 in hardness. The only thing
and diamonds would be the 10.
Diamond, yeah.
Okay. So how do you excavate granite using hand tools?
That's the point that I'm trying to make.
This is the mystery.
This is the mystery. I don't see how they say they only had copper tools.
Right.
So
copper would have bent all crazy.
Yeah, and then you look at these marks, these construction marks on there. It's almost like they could either soften stone or cut it in such a way that it was so easy to them, like with a laser.
Well, diamonds can be cut, and I've seen, where they use a chisel or something to get a diamond cut. What kind of a chisel? What are they using to cut diamonds?
How you cut a diamond is different.
Yeah, I'm not sure how that's done, but you'd have to be able to use a similar tool to cut something a little less hard.
Look at this. This is really cool. This is a just on a plate, actually.
Yeah.
Well, anyway,
he's showing me this picture of a plate. Is it square or is it rectangular like that?
Round. It's just a plate.
Oh, like a round plate with eyes.
It has eyes and what look like old flutes or something. I don't know.
Just kind of a representation of maybe a musical instrument of some kind.
Well, anyway, those, if you look like inside the eye, you can actually see the drill marks pushed down and moved around, kind of like on a CNC machine. Well, anyway.
What's a CNC machine?
CNC machine. Did we ever?
Is that the water?
Did we ever press our line?
I did.
I did not.
You can always do it later.
Okay. But anyway, a CNC machine, pretty much you can program. Like, say you wanted a perfect.
Do it now.
A
And
perfect
then just
face.
an hour from now. Sorry about this, folks.
No,
We're
you're
punching
fine.
out for lunch.
You're a bunch of numbers. 0,
Still hanging out here at Hardee's in Russellville with Ethan Bailey, having our lunch while we're talking about ancient things, man.
Yeah, man. All right, we're back.
And we're back.
And I'm back, man. Well, anyway, a CNC machine kind of works like it takes all the error out of human hands.
Okay.
When you work with your hands, you have, like, even if you're a professional, like the master craftsman,
Okay.
there's still going to be error in your work. It'll be very small error, but a CNC machine, sometimes you'll have error, sometimes you won't.
Uses what?
Say you want to make a completely transparent face. When I say transparent, I mean you can take a picture of it, a clear picture of it, and then turn it over on itself and have no flaws. That's exactly what the Egyptian statues, that's exactly what you can do with the Ramses statue. If you take a picture of it, it is completely transparent down to the thousandth of an inch.
All right, I looked it up. It says something about like a laser printer
Yeah.
or like a 3D printer.
Absolutely.
So it kind of cuts using a lathe, a scale, and that's what a CNC machine does. Uses a scale to kind of cut with precision.
And judges depth.
In
too.
precision. Okay.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
Good.
Well,
We
anyway,
got that down.
Yeah, we got that down. Anyway, the Egyptians knew how to use these tools, or not the Egyptians. I think there was a culture way beyond, but we're not going. We're not.
No, go for it, man. We
man.
can go for it.
All right. Well,
I'll say aliens. We got aliens?
no, man, I don't think so. But it's not out of possibility for us to have figured it out and just
Right.
forgot it, you know.
Yeah. That's happened many times before. Where, what is it, the Romans, they knew about aqueducts and then they forgot about it.
Yeah.
You know?
Type thing, yeah. But this is a granite stone in Russia.
Okay.
How do you drill that shape?
I do not know how you
It's
drill a hexagonal, looks like, let's see, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 7-pointed star into a granite rock. Now, is that in depth?
That is
Like a hole.
That is a hole all the way through the rock.
How do you do this? You do.
Perfect.
Yeah, that's not a drill bit.
It's pretty crazy.
That is.
And granite is like a very brittle rock once it's at its final state of, like, how we walk on it today, or like how you use it for countertops. Like, if you hit it with a hammer, it could fracture and chip off.
Yeah, so that's
It's
not,
kind of brittle.
Is that solid granite
Well, yeah.
that you use for
These-
the countertops?
Yeah. These
But that's the hardest substance, or close to one of the hardest substance.
close to it.
But once you use it in manufacture, it becomes brittle.
No. What I'm saying is, once it comes out of being formed, once it forms in the ground, once it gets to where, like, what we walk on and what we use for countertops, it's already at its hardest place, its hardest state it'll ever be.
Sure.
So, when it's that hard, it's super easy to fracture. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Okay, so it won't fracture in a straight line, but it'll fracture in shards.
Well, you know, when you pour concrete in the first, like, hour, it's still soft.
Sure.
And you can bend it and move it. Well, once it hardens and you try to move it, and then it cracks.
Right.
That's what I'm trying to get at.
Okay.
It's super easy to break.
All right, are we going with the earthquake proof? Because you mentioned that a little bit.
Yeah. Well, all these structures, like in Peru, China, Japan, Egypt, Greece, the Belize structures in the Philippines, all these structures all around the world, not just those sites that I named, almost every ancient site has the same building technique and same structures. And they're all earthquake proof. That's why they are still standing to this day.
Yeah.
The main reason why the Great Pyramid is still standing, because Egypt sits on one of the biggest fault lines in the world.
And it's sand.
And it's sand. And it's built on sand.
Yeah.
Well, not really. Not
Okay, so there is hard ground underneath.
Well, no, there's a man-made cavern system underneath the Giza Plateau that you've never even heard or learned about.
I'm just learning about it right now from you, Ethan Bailey.
There's only, I think, maybe 6 accounts of it being written down throughout history.
Mm-hmm.
I think a Roman actually drew it out on a map or something like that. It's pretty cool to go into, but I don't really know that.
Okay, but there's a cavern underneath the pyramid in
and then
Giza,
under
that's
that
providing...
there's an aquifer too underneath that sandstone base. There's a aquifer underneath that.
Potable water that
Yeah.
people can drink?
Well, it's water fluctuated by the Nile. Runs through it, so it's constantly.
Well, that's important in the desert.
Well, anyway, there's something about the Great Pyramid that is just amazing.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's a machine.
You think that's where they they kept their water supply?
No,
No,
absolutely
nothing to do with that.
No,
Okay.
because the whole Nile
Yeah, you got
valley
the Nile sitting over there.
would flood every year. It didn't, like, it used to flood all the way up to the pyramid itself until like the late or the early 1900s. They built a dam,
Yeah.
and
So the
They
Nile
moved it.
used to go all the way up to the pyramid.
yeah, there's like pictures of it. There's black and white pictures of it being like right at the Sphinx and right at the base of the pyramids.
That's amazing. You
Yeah, it's
always
pretty
expect the desert to be barren.
Yeah, just barren. Well, anyway, what I was getting at,
Please.
these structures are all done in the same way. Which, like, you know how we build our brick houses. They're like made out of super small bricks, and there's just a lot of them put together by mortar.
Sure. You're not
Anyway.
talking about cinder block. You're talking about...
Well, even cinder blocks.
Okay.
Even cinder blocks, when you do that with mortar, you're creating its own weakness. It's super hard to us and like wind,
Sure.
but to earthquake, it fractures and breaks because the ground underneath is vibrating at a frequency that the building itself cannot vibrate all together. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like if you have a solid stone, the earth will make that vibrate. It'll either match it or break it.
Yeah.
So anything solid and freestanding will just shift, not break, in other words.
So using regular bricks, the regular rectangular brick that you would see, for the most part, that's not very earthquake proof.
No.
You would have to have bricks of a different shape,
Well,
maybe?
no, if they were solid and there was enough of them with no mortar, then it would stand a lot better than a brick house, per se. Like if you just had a pile of them,
A pile of bricks that were shaped into a house, no mortar.
if it was completely solid all the way from the front door to the back door, if it was completely solid, it would not hurt it as bad as an empty house. You see what I'm saying?
Okay, yeah.
It's like a
Pile
shell.
of-
It's like
yeah,
it's like
pile of
putting an
bricks.
egg on top of the hood of a Jeep
Mm-hmm.
going down a trail. That's basically what you're doing with building a brick house like
I'm
that.
totally lost on this egg.
No, I mean it's like an empty shell putting on like
I know
the
that an
bumpiest
egg,
road ever.
if you hold it one way, if you hold it upwards, it's the strongest thing in the world. You can balance
No,
yourself on the top of
that's
it.
not what I'm
But if you
saying.
put it sideways, yeah, you can crack it easy.
Yeah. Well, anyway, brick houses are like a sideways egg, I guess.
Okay.
But all these ancient structures are probably the strongest things that have ever been built, and that's why they still stand to this day.
No kidding. Yeah.
Good. Because they match the frequency, whatever it is, of the world itself at any given time.
So the world's at a frequency.
So even if, say the you have a 9.9 earthquake. The world, the Earth is going to vibrate at a certain frequency. Well, anyway, the Great Pyramid, being mortarless, it gives the blocks room to shake and move and vibrate at that frequency.
But they won't move out of place because of the way they're delayed.
Yeah,
That's pretty cool.
it is pretty cool.
I want to make a pyramid and build it and use it as my house.
Yeah.
Because I don't want it to ever fall.
No, it's not too bad. Yeah, but the walls in Peru, though, those are the ones that captivate me the most, because they're like, either they'll use 5-ton blocks or 5-pound blocks.
Yeah, they looked like they were just haphazardly put in there. It was like the foreman said, hey, go find me a block that'll fit in this spot.
Yeah.
Go find me a block that'll fit in this spot.
Or they shaped it to each other.
There is some shape to it, but it doesn't look like it was extremely...
That's a shape
it's haphazardly. You say you have a square that's 2 foot by 2 foot, or
Yeah.
2 foot by 4 foot, and you just matched it up next to another one that was 2 foot by 3 foot. You know,
Yeah.
and
But this is why I say it's not haphazardly. That's a jaguar.
and then if you step away from the wall, you have an image of a jaguar.
Yep.
That was purposefully, with the colors of the stones, built into this wall.
Deified into this wall. It's pretty cool how they did
That
this.
is pretty cool.
What?
And
then
where was that one?
that one's in Peru.
That one's in Peru.
Cusco, Peru.
Okay.
And this one is another stone. It has 13 sides.
If you go close to it, there's 13 sides, like they etched. Okay,
Now, this block is like this wide.
okay, but it still looks like the foreman.
It's almost like they are melted together.
Okay.
Almost.
Okay. All right, but it looks like the foreman said, "Hey, here's a hole. Can you just etch something and jam it into that hole?"
Yeah, but if you try to slide a human hair through those walls, it's impossible. Because the way the ground shakes and how old these walls, they have came together in such a way they cannot be broken. It's wild.
It is wild. And that one's where?
That one's in Peru. Now
The
Now-
Peruvians got it, man.
Now in same picture that we're looking at,
Sure.
you have these little nodes that are coming out of the wall, kind of like little handles. But why would you have just one little handle on one rock? And it's not even in the best picking up spot.
Right. So not good for right climbing either.
So they're not good for picking up and moving, or even tying something to it. Well, in Egypt, on the smaller pyramids,
Okay, we have a person standing next to the wall to give it some kind of
a scale.
a scale, and there's a wall that's about 3/4 of a person high per block,
Yeah.
and it goes up many blocks.
Yeah, it goes up about, I would say right at 400 feet right now.
Okay,
The pyramid does. That one does.
and that's an Egyptian pyramid.
Yeah, absolutely. And it has the same nodes coming out of the stones as it does in Peru.
As the one in Peru, and they don't know each other
And they don't.
that we know of.
That we know of. Now,
I'm going back to space aliens.
no, I don't think so, man. I think it was a global culture.
Okay.
And the reason why I say this is because of this picture alone right here. This was in Easter Island, the heads, the big
Oh yeah, big
Moai heads.
dudes. Moai.
The Moai.
Moai.
Well, anyway, people don't know, but they have a body, arms, and even feet.
With the feet buried or something?
Yeah. Well, they're usually buried up to their chest in soot, which takes thousands of years.
Yeah.
So they're dating on that, I don't believe at all. But this is a site in Göbekli Tepe. That's the oldest site that we know of, well, that they give credit to. And the pillars on it, look at the hands. That's in Easter Island. Look at that same, it's the same thing. I mean, you're seeing it
So on Easter Island,
and one-
and then the other one is
in modern day Turkey.
In
which
Turkey.
in Iraq, basically.
Oh my.
Yeah,
And they're very similar.
very similar. Even the big round thing on the top matches the T-shaped columns that those are. And that Göbekli Tepe
Wild.
is like, I would say, imagine Stonehenge being a circle, like, Stonehenge, and then times that by 200, because that's how many stone circles are still in the ground at Göbekli Tepe that haven't been uncovered.
And Göbekli Tepe is where?
It's in Turkey.
In Turkey.
In modern day Turkey.
Where's Stonehenge?
Stonehenge is in England.
England, somewhere in England.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Yeah, I thought that was what it was, but why would... Are they the same kind of
No.
cultures?
No. The Göbekli Tepe is like 5,000 to 6,000 years older than the Sumerians.
Yes.
So it's like 13,000 to 14,000 years old.
Okay.
Which Stonehenge, I don't know about the dates on Stonehenge because
Right.
it's debatable. Anyway, let me show you some pictures here real quick. This is pretty cool.
Yeah, this is good for the
What
listening
time-
audiences.
what time do we have?
No, I got you. This is good for the listening audiences. The pictures that you're showing to me, and I'm trying to my best to describe what the pictures are.
Okay, this is in Aztec, right here. This is in New Zealand, ancient Egypt, and the Olmec in Mexico.
And all these pictures are of monkeys?
No, it's
what
of
are
it's of their god.
Oh, it's a god.
It's
yeah.
a god riding
And they all look so similar.
in a celestial being, or a serpent, a feathered serpent of sort.
4 completely separate
Cultures.
parts of the world, and they're very similar gods. It's like a guy riding something.
Yeah, riding in like a small craft or something.
Oh, there's the one true god right there.
Yeah, man.
He's riding all over the place, man.
But another thing is these. This is that triptych symbolism I was talking about. Like
Masonic triptych
the
temple.
like Freemasons don't know why they do this today.
Right.
Like they don't know where they get this knowledge from, but they just know it's important.
Mm-hmm.
Like we do it in our buildings today, like cathedrals, churches, and we don't understand it. But the ancients,
3 windows, a door and 2 windows.
or three,
triptych.
or 3 doors,
Or 3 doors, triptych.
or 2 pillars with. It's pretty crazy, and this is pretty cool too.
Pine cone, eternal flame.
Like these are modern, some ancient. Oh dang it! I forgot where I was at.
Eh,
That happens. Well, anyway, we got that from the ancients too. I can't follow that. Not like I can these other ones. All right, this is an Aztec depiction or Mayan depiction
and it's still the same dude,
of God
kind of
Kukulkan
squatted,
holding a bag.
holding a bag.
Okay, Sumerian.
I think that's Gucci.
This is
These are, okay, time travelers. That's what it is. It's not ancient aliens. It's time travelers.
It's either a Gucci bag or their handbag or whatever.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, at Göbekli Tepe, that oldest site that we know of, there's that same bag.
And, oh my.
And that predates that culture by at least 6,000 years, and that culture by 10,000 years.
This bag.
I think they understood something that we do not yet understand, man.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to figure it out.
Ethan Bailey, you got something started here. You got some theories about
Just
the
theories.
ancient world.
Yeah, if
And that's where you're at, man. That's
mean,
where you're digging.
yeah.
I mean, you're not just digging for crystals and quartzes and,
Yeah.
and pieces to make jewelry from, which is what you do. That's what you start
it's
doing.
just a hobby.
It's a hobby, and it could turn into a job of sorts where you make a couple extra bucks, a little extra cheese on your burger.
Yeah, man.
Which I only say because we're still hanging out here at Hardee's in Russellville, Arkansas,
Yeah, man.
and doing a chit chat, man, right here with Ethan Bailey, man.
Heck yeah.
So tell the people what you want them to know about you, man.
Well,
How do they?
How much time do we got left?
Oh, we got plenty. Don't worry. There's an alarm on.
Hour.
Yeah.
Well, hell, man, I graduated high school in Greers Ferry, West Side. Go Eagles.
Go Eagles. All right.
Well, anyway, I went to college, realized I can't write worth a crap, so.
Yeah, but you got stuff that you need to start writing about.
Man,
you have things. If you can recite it, you can write it. You know, and there are a lot of text to speech. A lot of people don't know or don't have the time to type something out or write something out. But if you can talk it out, you can talk it out into your computer machine.
I could probably do that.
And then it'll come right out as a written word.
It'd be cool, man. I would love to. I would love to, because I got so many ideas about this stuff that just vanish. Like I'll think of it one day, and I'll be like, man, what did I think of?
Ethan Bailey, start a podcast.
yeah, right.
It's easy, man. If you got a phone, you have a recorder right on your phone, and you could start a podcast. Easy as pie, man.
I don't have time, man.
You think you don't have time? You just had about an hour.
Well, yeah, this is
of chit chatting.
This is lunch.
So, at lunch, man, while you're thinking about things, you could be talking about things. Yeah. A lot of times during the podcast, I started the other podcast, the Keys Dan Show, and I did that because I want to learn things. And sometimes I don't have people to interview with, like I have you, Ethan Bailey. And I'm saying your name a lot because I want people to get it drilled in their head. They're going to know about Ethan Bailey. And you know, sometimes I don't have somebody to talk to, but I still want to learn something. So I'll go to a website and I'll find some passages and kind of research some things. Like I did a podcast about Queen, my favorite band. Yeah, and I did a podcast about photography. You know, one of my favorite subjects is taking pictures of things and people, and you could start a podcast about crystals and ancient civilizations and fishing. I noticed on your Facebook, I was stalking your Facebook, and you have pictures of you fishing, man. So
yeah, man,
there's knowledge to be had.
I'm an avid fisherman.
Yeah,
for sure.
So what kind of fishing do they have in Greers Ferry?
They have bass.
Okay, because I'm from the Florida Keys, and fishing to me was sitting on a boat, put some poles in the water, and then have a sandwich and shoot the breeze.
Yeah, that's about how it can be done. Most people that go say there's no fish in that lake, but
I got you.
I don't know, man.
Hey, a bad day fishing's better than a good day at work, right?
That's right. That's absolutely right, man. No,
get out with nature, commune with it.
How I started fishing, man, my grandpa, he was a guide. He was one of the first guides on Greers Ferry Lake. Mm-hmm. My dad was a guide. I was a guide. My brother was a guide. We know that lake probably better than anybody alive.
Why aren't you a guide, man?
I was for a while, and then I moved to South Carolina.
Yeah.
But now I'm back, man.
Yeah, welcome back.
I love it. I love it here. It's awesome.
Yeah, it's a good natural state, and I think that's the motto of Arkansas, the natural state. And you know, in the Keys, it was different. Had the ocean, and here it's all green, and it's beautiful,
and water.
It is very natural.
It's pretty cool, man.
And it's got some mountains, got some places to hike, So I guess this portion of the show is tourism for Arkansas. Yeah. Come visit Arkansas.
Yeah.
And maybe you can meet up with Ethan Bailey, and he'll teach you how to mine for crystals.
Or go bow fishing. I could take you bow fishing.
Bow fishing?
Yeah, man.
Wait a minute, you're fishing with a bow? See, I'm rewatching Arrow on Netflix.
Oh, no. This ain't nothing like that. This is more like bird hunting.
So you're taking an actual bow and arrow?
Yeah.
Compound bow?
But you're shooting like maybe 10 feet at most.
Still, that takes a lot of skill, it seems.
Yeah, absolutely. It's like bird hunting. You lead the fish.
Mm-hmm. And I'm guessing it's attached to a string of some kind?
Absolutely.
And you have to reel it in.
Yeah, the refraction sucks, man.
What's a refraction?
Like when you stick your straw into a glass of water and you see how it bends.
Oh yeah. That's
how you perceive light.
Sure.
And you'll be shooting directly at a fish and you'll miss it by a mile.
Oh, that fish was 3 feet away.
Our motto is aim low.
Aim low.
Shout out to Mike Fenner for that.
Okay. All right. See, we're getting different facets of Ethan Bailey on the podcast. I knew there was going to be something here.
Oh man.
Just hanging out here, having some lunch, and talking about things. Man, that ancient civilizations, it blows my mind. And you're saying that all these different people from all over the world are using pretty much the same tactics when they're building their structures. Do you think that maybe there's only one way of building a structure to make it last long?
Like that?
Yeah.
Yes, I think that is the best way, and the way there's a reason why they did it that way.
So why aren't we doing it now?
We don't understand why they did it like that. And I think it was for that energy that I was talking about with the crystals and stuff like that.
And so crystals give you energy then?
I think there's an unknown energy that we are not capable of figuring out, that we are just too blind to see type deal.
So you can tap into the energy with the crystals?
I think so. I think it's a part of it. It's a major part of it because all the cultures use the same ingredients, so to speak. It's pretty crazy, man. If you look into it,
there's a lot to chomp on here, man. You've given me a lot of stuff to unpack, stuff that I have to research further. Maybe this
Nikola Tesla.
Yeah, maybe this isn't
Chris Dunn.
You mentioned Nikola Tesla, who I know, and I know a lot of people know, and then you mentioned Chris Dunn in the same breath. Who's Chris Dunn?
Chris Dunn, he is an engineer, and if you research his work, like type in Chris Dunn, ancient power plant, and he'll show you why I think the Great Pyramid was more used as a machine than it was ever like a ceremonial site. I don't ever think it was a tomb. There's never been a body found in it. And it looks like a machine. It's constructed like a machine. I know because I've built mega machines. And,
so give a little backstory on that.
I worked in a reactor.
Nuclear reactor.
Nuclear reactor. I helped build the lower unit in Unit 3.
So
VC Summers.
Big machines.
Yeah, we got shut down though.
Oh, okay.
Oh, yeah, it was a big deal.
Well,
big deal.
Hey.
It's in the news. Yeah, watch the news, Sam.
So maybe, Ethan Bailey, you've given us food for thought. You've given us some ideas of what is going through your head, and it's going to start other people's wheels turning.
Yeah, I hope
now.
so. I hope so, man. I hope people actually realize like that you got to take this learning into your own hands, or you're just gonna be spoon fed a whole bunch of.
And if like-minded people want to get a hold of you, how would they like to? Would you like to do that?
You can find me on Instagram.
Instagram's the big one.
Yeah. I'm bigger on Instagram than I am on Facebook.
Yeah, I found your Facebook. I'll find your Instagram, and I'll definitely put the links in the show notes when I put this podcast up. And man, Ethan Bailey, you might find some people that are along the same path, trying to figure out how come these ancient civilizations built things the same way, using similar blocks and similar styles, and why were they cut that way, and why
and how?
How did you get the 7-pointed star jammed right through a piece of granite?
Yeah.
So tough. This material, very tough.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's
not a drill bit. You cannot drill a 7-pointed star through something. It has to go straight through.
Yeah. And this is done perfectly.
Or I guess it can be drilled, and then how deep was that?
Around 8 inches, I would say.
8 inches. Okay, so it could be a round drill and then etched afterwards with a different tool.
But it would have to be either a laser or diamond tip tool.
Yeah, it sounds very, very interesting. All right.
Yeah, man. There.
As we're running this out, Ethan Bailey, any last words for the people?
Hey, man, just keep living.
Just keep living. Hey, wait a minute. Man. When I had Matthew McConaughey, no, wait, that was in my dream.
Oh, yeah.
I think that's the name of his.
I hope we get to do this again, and y'all just keep on going out there, man.
Like I said, man, look for the Ethan Bailey podcast coming real soon. I know you're going to do it, man, because if you got knowledge, if you got ideas, if you're an interesting person, and you are, man, you said, I don't know, I'm just a regular country boy from Greers Ferry,
just a regular guy, dude.
Just a regular guy. Everybody has a story, man.
Yeah.
Ethan Bailey, you have a story. And there's so much more to this story that you haven't told. We're just scratching the surface, man. And yeah, we can do this again sometime. Ethan Bailey, you're the goods. That's it. What makes you famous? Ethan Bailey, last word.
Over and out.
There you have it, party people. Ethan Bailey. If you want to get a hold of Ethan Bailey, find him on the Facebook, find him on the Instagram. He says Instagram, he's more into that, so I'll definitely put the notes, the links to his Instagram and his Facebook in the show notes, and you can find out more about this man who's, he had questions, and he has questions, and he has hypotheses and theories about what happened in ancient times, how pyramids were built, and all over the world the construction of these pyramids so similar. And he showed me so many pictures of different brick building, and how did that building, no mortar, but the bricks jigsaw puzzled perfectly together, these bricks that weigh anywhere from 5 pounds to 5 tons. How did they get moved so many miles? Yes, you can have thousands of people trying to move this one brick, but to move it seems so impossible or improbable. And I know that there's scientists that have said, well, yeah, if you had this many people over that much time using these types of tools, things can happen. Well, he has ideas that need answers, and maybe we won't get those answers, but it does give you food for thought. It gives you pause. It gives you something to think about. So you might look up some of these ancient civilizations and the theories that have been posed and all the ideas that are already out there. Well, throw Ethan Bailey into the mix because he's out there. He's out there collecting crystals. He does that. So he's some kind of a geologist where he likes to go out and get the crystals and wraps them in copper in intricate ways. And he showed me some of the pictures of the necklaces and the jewelry that he's made for different people. Some people commission him to do this jewelry. And he's wearing... his proof is in the pudding. His money's worth his mouth is. Any other cliches that you could throw at me. He's wearing some of the jewelry that he has made himself. Just going out into, well, here's a little stint for Arkansas tourism. Come out to Arkansas and mine for crystals, and I think Arkansas is, well, from what I've heard, don't quote me, I'm not even going to look it up, Arkansas is the last place that you could find diamonds in the country. Is that right? Is it the biggest place that you could find diamonds in the country? I know there's something to do with that, but you can diamond mine right here in Arkansas. That's great. And if you're not, if you don't find any diamonds, there's crystals. There's other baubles that you could collect and put together like Ethan Bailey does. He wraps these things up in different wires and different colored wires, whatever the customer wants. He will do a commission just for you. So he's an artist. Oh, and plus he did show me some artwork. So there's so many more facets of Ethan Bailey. He was a skater. He does martial arts. He showed me a video of him on Instagram where he's doing a backflip, a standing backflip. The kid's athletic. 26 years old. All right, the kid's an athlete. But there's so much more to Ethan Bailey that he didn't get to. In fact, because of time constraints, he only had an hour for lunch. But he showed me so much more that he has. And he says, man, that was fun. I want to do another podcast. Well, Ethan Bailey, we will do another podcast. And we'll talk about the other facets of your life. Oh, yeah, he plays guitar, too. So put that in your pipe and smoke it. The kid's multifaceted. Everybody has a story. Everybody came from somewhere. You have a story. Yeah, I'm talking to you. You have a story. If you want to tell your story on the What Makes You Famous podcast, I encourage you. Give me a call, 501-470-6386, or email info@radiowhat.com. That's it for this installment of the What Makes You Famous podcast. Thank you, Ethan Bailey, for coming on. It's Keys Dan, RadioWhat.com, DJLittleRock.com. Peace. I'm out of here.
Radio What? The music you want. Hey guys, this is Shelly G with a fast fact. The system of democracy was introduced 2,500 years ago in Athens, Greece. Do you have a fast fact? Share it with us at Interactive Radio, RadioWhat.com.
Hey, Keys Dan. What you doing?
My line.
I'm playing the best music by request 24 hours a day. Click on the request tab at the top of RadioWhat.com.
RadioWhat.com.